I think something needs to be said in regards to this ties in loosely with the idea of goals and advancement, progress, all that stuff. It seems to me that as people move along and they gain more understanding, there can be a temptation to jump back on that bandwagon of we need to really achieve something here. We need to get something done. We need to arrive somewhere. And many times this comes out in the form of some sort of utopia or heaven, back to the womb, back to the absolute, or the that which is before manifestation, and putting that forth as something that is urgent and necessary, and along with the feeling that it's possible to miss the mark, I just want to express that I think that whole thing is a crock of horse shit, like virtually every other system that ever talks about the necessity of achieving whatever while using some sort of threat or fear as the energetic component that keeps the movement going forward. And that's just incorrect. Because that thing that we're talking about, the thing that everybody is talking about, it's not any different thing. It's everybody's aware of what this is, the phenomena of that place of peace, which all of the major religions are attempting to talk about, but since they have fallen into this state of disrepair where they aren't really trying to help you think or get to that or anything, they're just manipulating for personal gain, or for corporate gain, or lobby groups, special interests, all that other bullshit. That's what it usually the motivating interest for making this return, this ascension. All of the words out there, I'm not saying that there isn't that place of peace, because there is. What I'm trying to say is that it's not ever a goal. It's not ever accessible through time or through casting out a future projection and saying, well, I'll get there after I do X, Y, and Z. It's never that. It's always this state is always available to you, and not only that, you've never left that state. Nobody has ever left that state. It just gets covered up. Again, like Alan Watts would say, not Alan Watts, like Osho would say, he'd say, the mirror has always been there. It's always been perfect. And there has just the only thing that has ever been happening is dust has been accumulating on it. And you can consider the dust as all of your projections, any fears you might have, any personality attributes you have acquired over your experience, and then identifying with all those things, which is the dust. And the dust is never that important. The mirror does not give a flying fuck about the dust. It just doesn't care. And it's not in any urgent need to, quote unquote, find its way back, because it's just itself, and it always has been. And the reason why it's beneficial to individuals to think of it like this is because that frees you as the individual from this sort of angsty, grabbing, pulling, yearning, searching, all of these things. You're freed up from that, because you can't get yourself back into heaven. You can't get yourself back to this unmanifest peace. You can't get away from it. You can't do anything about it whatsoever. What you can do is you can move, you can use your body, you can use your thoughts, you can interact with other people in a neutral, peaceful, loving way, you know? You don't have to do that either, but that's available. And when you drop this whole notion of, if we don't do something and do it fast, then Armageddon's gonna come and get us, you know? That type of thinking is what brings Armageddon. Go on, buddy. People are always being courteous at the wrong time. What's that called? Forcible courtesy? That thing that, you know, someone, I'm gonna help you, goddammit, and you're gonna accept it. Succinctly emphasizing my whole point in this video. So yeah, I mean, we're very slowly coming around. Anyway, I don't really have much else to say about that. That's something that, generally speaking, you have to find yourself. The other thing is, that ties in with this, is the mind and the projection system of the mind. And I call that the lower mind, because higher mind can hold all of these knowings, and they're not in the form of words that are believed to be the reality. The lower mind holds the words and thinks that they are the thing that they're pointing to, and they're not. And if you have broken through that self-imprisonment that comes along with the lower mind believing that the thoughts and the words really, really, truly have substance, when they don't. If you break through that, then you come out on the other side and you find that words are fluff, and they're pretenders, you know? And there is something important going on when conversation is happening, but the words themselves are a very minor aspect. And they don't really mean anything. You can understand what I'm saying by listen to the ridiculousness contained in that very sentence. I can say the words don't mean anything, and I'm saying it using words. At some point you just have to start giggling about it, because it's a silly joke, you know. It's only a horrifying joke when you still sit there thinking that the words mean something. Like when you think about tree, and you think that word means something, and then you remember, oh no, that word is like a very gross it's a pointing to that phenomenon which we know of as tree. And that word is like a holder. It's a placeholder for your mind to be able to access again what you have previously experienced with your hands and with your nose, right? With your eyes. Everything. You know how to experience a tree. The word is only there so you can discuss that phenomenon with other people and with yourself, and so you can find your way back to that if you're not around it, you know? If you didn't have that word tree in your mind, and maybe you're in a barren desert, maybe you would never find your way back to the actuality, which is kind of poorly